Hello everyone, welcome back again to easy way of answering graded assessment of Google IT support course on Coursera. We are still on module 2, which says the bits and bytes of networking, and today we'll be answering the graded assessment of week 5. As you can see, I've actually navigated to the week 5 here, and the graded assessment here, I will scroll down so that I can access the graded assessment of week 5. Now I've scrolled down. As you can see, this is the graded assessment, and the graded assessment here is wireless channel. I've actually passed through this, and now I'm going to help you guys to equally pass through it. So let's begin. Yes, as you can see, again the assessment is wireless channel, and one is required to have 80% or above for one to pass it. But if you check out my grade, you can see that I've actually made a 100% grade to pass it. So now, to help you guys in order to be able to answer it easily, I'm going to resume the assignment so that I can answer it with you guys and let you guys know about the tricks that is required in answering it. Now I have navigated to where I'm supposed to start answering the wireless channels. So I will scroll down to the instructions. The instructions here is you control 3 wireless channels with access points identified as A, B, and C. Neighboring wireless network may cause wireless interference. Your goal is to move your wireless channels to minimize the interference. So let's take a look at let's take note of the next sentence. The next sentence says, make sure there is as little overlap as possible for all wireless channel. That is what you should make sure you take note of. Then in answering such questions, which is the wireless channels, first of all, you should take note of the network frequency, or the frequency of the neighboring Wi-Fi, and the frequency of neighboring Wi-Fi here has been set to 2.467. and when you look at it here, this is the point at which the neighboring Wi-Fi frequency was set at 2.467. You have to look at the bands of the frequency, and you can see that this is the frequency at which this neighboring Wi-Fi was set to 2.467. Now the trick here in answering this wireless channel graded assessment is there are 2 tricks. The first one is, make sure that one of your own network that you are trying to set, either A, B, or C, make sure that you set one of them to be standalone. What I mean by standalone is it should stand alone in an essence that it will not have any overlap at all. Look at this example now. I have shifted my network frequency of A to 2.412, and when you look at this gap, you can see that there is no overlap here at all compared to this overlap here between B and C. What I mean by the overlapping is, if I shift this to this side, you can see that there is an overlap between A and B now. But I'm saying that make sure that one of your own network you are trying to set is standing alone. It doesn't have this little interference as A and B is having. So if I shift B here now, consider there is a gap here, so which means A and B are not interfering with each other at all. There's no overlapping between them at all. That is the first trick. Make sure that one of your own network that you are trying to set, make sure that you set the frequency to a stand alone, as I've done with A, which is standing alone. Now the other ones that are overlapping, those are the ones that you now need to move around. You need to move them around to make sure that yes, you have a gap of minimum of 2 in between them. What I mean by the gap of 2 is that when you look at this B is set to 2.437. so between B and C, if I count the gap between them, this is the trick too. If I count the gap between them, I'll see that the gap between B and C is 1, 2, 3. Now the gap between C and the set network, you see that is 1. So, and I said minimum of 2, but in this case having minimum of 1 is also very good, as far as you go by the first trick that says one of your own network is standing alone. So the gap between B and C is 1, 2, 3. So if I shift this C here, you can see that the gap that we have between neighboring network and C now is 1, 2, and here is also 1, 2. So if I check my answer, it will show me that it's correct. So let's check. You can see that the answer is actually correct based on the trick that I have said, that you make sure that you set one of your own network to a standalone, which I have set this A to be a standalone. That first trick is really important. It's really important. And the second trick is make sure that there is a minimum of 2 gaps between each and every other networks after setting one to a standalone. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go to the next question. Now the next question is, as you can see here, that the neighboring Wi-Fi has been set to a frequency of 2.432. Where is the 2.432? This is the 2.432 where it was set to. And based on the trick also, I said make sure that one of your own frequency is set to a standalone. So my own network is A, B and C. So I'm setting C to be a standalone first, because it's really far from others now that are now overlapping. This A is also at here, so what I need now to shift this B in order not to excessively overlap with the neighboring network. So I will shift network B now. Now where I've shifted network B to, I've shifted it to 2.447. You can see it doesn't have any overlapping with network C. And if I count the gap between network B and the neighboring network is 1, 2, the minimum, which is 2. Then if I count from network A to the neighboring network gap also, I will count 1, 2, 3. You can see it also meets the 2 tricks. So let's check the answer. Also the answer is correct. So let's move on to the next question. So you press this front arrow to move to the next question. Now for this next question, as you can see that the neighboring Wi-Fi is set to 2.442. 2.442. So here already I'm making sure that my network A, it's set to be a standalone at frequency of 2.412, which is standalone now. So what I need to do now is to move network B and C. So if I move this network B to this place, you can see now that the gap between network B and the neighboring network is just 1, so which is not good. So I think the best thing here is to probably set the network C to be the standalone. So let's check. Now I'm setting network C to be standalone. Now for the second trick, let me check the distance between A and B. Between A and B I have 1, 2, 3, and between B and the neighboring network I have 1. It is not the best, so I think the best is to set network A as standalone. So if I move network B to this place, I will now have network A as a standalone, and the gap between network B and network C now is gap of 2, 1, 2, and the gap between the neighboring network and network B also is going to be 1, 2. So I believe this is also going to be correct. So let's check our answer. We are also correct in this one. So the trick is make sure that one of your own network that you are trying to set, it's set to standalone. Make sure that it is set to standalone. So this is standalone. Let's move on. The next question, you can see that the neighboring network has been set to 2.427. This is 2.427 where the neighboring network has been set to. So in this case, we are setting our network C to a standalone. So I will move around network B. Now network B is set to 2.447. so the distance gap between network B and the neighboring network now is 1, 2, 3, and the distance gap between network A and the neighboring network is 1, 2, which is also correct, which follows both tricks. First trick, one is standalone. Second trick, 2 gaps in between the other network. So let's check our answer. It's also correct. So we move to the next question. The next question is, the neighboring network is already set to 2.422. So this is the network at which, this is the frequency at which the neighboring network is set to 2.422. So we try to move A, B, C around. So if I'm setting my network C as a standalone, which is here, so what I would tend to do now is to move my network A and B around. So my network A, the gap between network A and neighboring network 2.422, as you can see, just 1. So this won't be correct. So I will have to move it around. If I move the network A, I will see that the gap between network A and neighboring network here is 1, but here is 2. Now let's still move it to this side. If I move it to this side, I will see that the gap between network A and neighboring network is 1, and the gap between network B and the neighboring network is 1, 2, 3, which is also correct because the first trick is followed, which says one of your own network must be standalone. as far as you follow the first tricks that puts one of your own network as a standalone, then you can play around with the two networks and you see that you always be correct. So let's check. Also, it is also correct. So now we have well done. You may now submit the quiz and you move on. So this is the end of this quiz. Please and please, if you like this video, if this video has helped you in answering this graded assessment of Google IT support course on Coursera week 5 again, which is wireless channel, please like the video, share with your friends and subscribe to my channel. More videos are still coming in shortest time. Expect more videos to come, and I wish you guys the very best of luck and see you again next time. Stay safe. Peace. Bye for now. Bye for now.